good, strong hero men has done so much damage to the world we live in. But it's important to keep in mind before we do that. It's important to, before we do that, to keep in mind that you do need to be aware of these things while you experience them. Anyway, I want to thank SailorNep for letting me talk about this before we get into the run here. And I'm also going to read one quick donation because we have it, and there's a good moment here. But we have $1,000 from Lilithan. Abandon the Space Hooligans. I want to shout out my friend SailorNep for being a really wonderful person. Thank you, Power Up with Pride, for putting on this event. It is always such a pleasure to watch. Love you all. All cops are baddies. Black Lives Matter.
Well, thank you so much for that donation, Lilithan. I'm SailorNep, by the way, and I 100% approve of and agree with these messages. That said, you might wonder, why do I like this mode so much? And the answer is it's basically Mega Man Mighty Switch Force. So it's mechanically that I like it. And I have worked hard to put on a good run tonight. So I hope you all be able to enjoy it. So that said, I'm ready when everyone else is. You can just let me know.
All right, want me to count you down?
Sure, thank you very much.
3, 2, 1, let's go.
Alright, so the first 20 seconds of the run gives me a bit of time to talk about version differences. I'm running the Switch version because it's more comfortable for me to be playing on console. Essentially, my PC does not like to stream and have a game running at the same time. But basically, there are loading differences that makes the Switch version a little slower for RTA, but for in-game time, which I play for, that doesn't really matter. The current world record for this in-game time is a 31:20, which is actually a run I had the other night. So I'm definitely on top form with this. So essentially in this first level, there's not much that's going to be happening. We're just going to be avoiding most of the enemies and collecting gems to power up our blaster. So one of the things about this run is every time I press A, the little siren light on Shantae's helmet will cause the blocks that are out to go in and the blocks that are in to go out, and manipulating these is pretty much the key part of the gameplay. You can also see, since time stops during that, not only do I want to make sure I don't do extra, but it also means I can debuffer my jump inputs. Essentially, if I want to jump lower than the full amount, instead of having to just let it go, I can actually press A when I need to, and then let go during the time stop. Not a lot of interesting jump debuffers happen in this first level, but there are going to be some really fun ones later. So during that loading screen, there was actually quite a bit of loading lag, and that's one of the things I'm talking about that you wouldn't see in other versions. The PC version in particular, if you're running on an SSD and the game's running well, then that's going to be the optimal performance. Even on PS4, if you're using a hard drive, there are quite a bit of load times. So in-game time, definitely the way to go here, in my opinion. So we got our blaster maxed out right as we reached the first boss, which is very important. We're now going to be firing a triple spread of shots that will do 3 damage each, and this lets us basically melt bosses. Alright, and that is the first level down. So World 2, the first screen is actually pretty nice in that there's no RNG to worry about. It's just going to be the same every time. But this is going to be one of the first jump debuffers I'm talking about. There's going to be an enemy popping out. You can see I debuffered the jump, and that makes it very easy to go under it. So you might wonder, what would happen if I were to be in front of a block when I move it in, and I would bonk into the screen and go back to the beginning of the area? So avoiding doing that is extremely important. I actually don't try to get too close on that jump that surrounds blocks. It's not worth it. If you bonk, it is a huge time loss. So this screen, there are definitely some things that I can do to move more efficiently, but I have to wait on these hook cycles. These are not RNG. They're going to be the same every time. So it isn't too big a deal if I have small inefficiencies in my movement, especially there's a large wait coming in a few seconds. Right here, I basically just have to stand and wait. Nothing that can be done about that. Now, this next section, we're going to be moving very efficiently to make sure that we don't miss a hook cycle. I actually have to give Lilithan thanks to giving me the idea to try to clean up my movement here, because before I didn't realize that you could actually catch that hook I just caught. So that's kind of a big deal. It saves a few seconds. Oh, that was unfortunate. Okay. I never messed that up. That's funny. Marathon nerds will call it. So we're going to be heading into the next part of the run, which is an auto-scroller. So if there are any donations to be read out, now would be an excellent time for some.
Why don't we talk about some of our bid wars? Because there's only a few left, but there's some good ones. We can, for this run, there's only a little bit more time if you want to rescue those space hooligans. Abandon is up by quite a lot, so if you want to rescue those space hooligans, then you better get in on that now. You've got some momentum to build. But if you want to abandon them, I mean, don't get too secure, because we've seen if that Odin Sphere bid war taught us anything, it's that anything can change at a moment's notice. So don't get too carried away. But if you'd rather, like, participate in something a little closer, we have the bid war for naming Madeline and Celeste. The two winning names as of present are Marin and Bunny. Bunny, I don't know how to pronounce Bunny spelled the wrong way round. Banui? It doesn't matter. The point is that those are significantly less close. So if you want to tackle one of those names that hasn't quite made the list, like Kate, Velvet, Masse, or Bunny with one N, you can do that. Or if you'd rather throw in a new option, it's not too late for that either. We can also still decide the fate of Marin. The bid war is, especially with the amount of time we have left before that Link to the Past run, we still have quite some time. We still have quite some time with save and leave. So, you know, get that, so, you know, either defend your choice or get the other one going.
So this boss, Giga Mermaid, has 2 phases, and essentially it's RNG all the way. Phase 1 we handled okay despite getting not the greatest RNG pattern. Phase 2 will go either very quickly or we'll lose like 20 seconds. Oh yeah, we're probably going to lose like 20 seconds. That's okay.
Do you mind if I chime in with something real quick?
Please do.
So, we have a $13.12 donation that says, let's get a 1312 donation train rolling. All cops are baddies, Black Lives Matter. So yeah, I think we should do that. When the timer is at 1312, I would like to see a bunch of $13.12 donations, or if you're feeling generous, any multiple of 10 of that. So yeah, let's see if we can get that at 1312 on the timer. That's in 3 minutes.
So this third stage is where we finally start to get to see some of the really fun jumping that makes me love this category so much. This is exactly what I'm talking about. That's just very satisfying to do. I think it looks cool. It's not as complicated as it might look, but it's just enjoyable.
Can I read one more donation?
Absolutely, please do.
Okay, so we have $25 from someone called SailorNep, whoever that is. I've always been happy to tune in and support this marathon in past years. Last year, I finally discovered my own identity, and among other things, I resolved to get into this marathon, bring my best run. Black Lives Matter. Let's have a great rest of the marathon and hit that 10K mark. Well, thank you so much, wherever you are, SailorNep.
Whoever that is, right?
Whoever that is. Although I am pleased to report that we are pretty good. We have hit that 10K mark. And in fact, I would say that let's try to push for that 12K mark.
Yeah, that donation line, that didn't age too well, but that's a good thing. I'm happy to hear that.
Well, let's see how far we can get with that donation train with the $13.12 donations in 2 minutes.
So this segment is extremely scary. Probably the scariest part of the run. Because if I accidentally bonk here, I go back to the beginning of the entire section, and it is long. Now, you'll notice that during the auto-scroller in World 2, I picked up a Space Hooligan when I didn't necessarily need to. And the reason for that is, essentially, there's one here, I already got it, that's unavoidable. And that's really not a moment that you want to have a Space Hooligan tutorial pop up bothering you. I forgot that this was the part where we dodged the arrows. Okay, we're through. So even though the gun gets depowered as a result of gem loss, it's actually worth it just because of the way the stage layout works to just damage boost through a lot of these enemies. As you can see, I get a refill there. Sorry?
Oh, I was just saying now.
Oh yes, the 1312, huh?
Yeah, it's 1312. Well, it was a few seconds ago. we didn't quite. I didn't quite get that exact, but I think it's the spirit of the thing. And let me know when I have a minute to read off these list off the people who have been kind enough to donate here, because we've gotten a few.
By all means, other than the damage boost, there's not too much to talk about here, so feel free to go for it.
Okay, thank you. Some egrets. Dr. Goldfire92, Alborelia, Lilithen, and SSFX. Oh god, I want to pronounce this one right. SSFSX. Special shoutouts to SSFXX, who has donated $131.20, which is super, super appreciated. Everyone else has donated $13.12, which is also really appreciated. I'm not going to read all these messages individually. The ones that have messages all say something along the lines of ACAB, as you might expect.
That's very good.
Thank you, everyone.
Oh, we actually got good RNG on the first cycle here. So clearly those donations brought us a little bit of blessing there. So there's really nothing that I can do to make this fight faster. We just have to wait until we can get a cannonball in, which always happens at roughly the same time. And then we just dodge attacks. So I kind of do this air wiggle to try and make Wilbur aim incorrectly. Oh, that's okay. We took a hit, but that doesn't really matter. We'll get to recover by the end of the fight. Wow, what is this RNG? This is really nice so far. It's like trying to make up for the mermaid. Because if the boulder that you can actually shoot into the cannon lands on the other side of the arena, then you have to walk to it, and it takes forever.
We've got one last 1312 donation from Empyrean that came in a little later, but is equally appreciated. Oh, and another one for from A Silent Harmony. Thank you all so much.
I agree with what I'm seeing in chat. Wilbur definitely does have a bit of a cute design. Despite all the attacks, Wilbur just kind of looks friendly and surprised when taking damage. Okay, so we got through the fight without losing gems, which is good. If you end the fight without max gems, it's actually very hard to recover during the next stage. And wow, we got perfect RNG on 3 of the 4 cycles there. Okay, so the next stage, this is going to be the donation cutoff. And you're going to see the line, Rats, you got me, because for whatever reason, you can't skip that cutscene until that line displays. So will we be saving or abandoning these space hooligans?
We are abandoning those space hooligans. It's not even close.
Okay, so this this donation incentive refers to 3 specific space hooligans during this auto-scroller. There are 2 that are not practical for me to avoid, but there are 3 that are just going to be chilling on ships. The ships are going to sink, and unfortunately they will be going down with the ships. So this is one of the ones I can't reasonably avoid. I could technically drop into a pit, but I need my health. There's a reason for that. There's actually going to be a boss fight at the end of this auto-scroller. I gotta remind myself, don't collect. Goodbye, Sky. You will be missed. But essentially, that boss fight, if it goes well, then we'll get a quick kill. But if not, then we're going to need to be able to drop into the pit to damage boost. So that's the other one that you can't practically avoid. Every time I hit the pit, it's a half heart of damage, so trying to do pit bounces just to get around them would leave me with very little health going into this fight. By the way, if this fight completely goes south, which I don't think is likely, but it can happen, I do have a backup save that we can do. But we're not going to let that happen. Ooh, we did get a level down there. That's fine. So yeah. That fight was not ideal, but we still got through it, okay? And we'll get chances to recover our gems before we have any major combat. So in fact, I'm going to drop into this room real quick and just get this as marathon safety. Oh my god, one gem. So if I can, recovery's good there. So we did get a big heart. There is one damage boost I'm going to do a little later in this level. You don't want to stand too close to those when shooting them because their cannonball will just hit you at point blank. So this one we're going to damage boost through. Because there's a big recovery right after it. Let's see, we already got the gems back. So after this cannon, there's actually a bit of a wait. There's really no way to do anything like damage boost through this, because in order to do so, you would have to damage boost past the cannon and then take an additional hit, and even then it's questionable if you'd make it through. So just waiting this out is the way to go. And that's it for 4-2. Oh, I didn't even see that enemy. What? So that walk is incredibly precise timing. I'm glad that I didn't mess it up during the marathon run. The RTA world record run, which is not by me, actually damage boosts on the enemy before that. I don't personally go for that because while that definitely saves waiting for the laser cycle at all, then you have to recollect the gems and it makes the couple enemies you have to fight after slower. So that's kind of just like a difference in routing opinion. Alright, so we're coming up on the next boss. Destroy this engine, wait for the explosion, and we'll be fighting the Ammo Baron. So the Ammo Baron, his fighting style is he essentially brings in waves of his own minions. And pretty much because of the way the blaster works, it's actually very hard to get in a lot of damage on him for the most part. But at the end of the third cycle, he will actually float down to the ground, and then we can just stand there and just spam. The main thing I want to do here is just make sure I don't get hit. Because they are a little unpredictable, so I just wait for the cycle to start and I just edge over. And now it's safe, I'm getting some more shots. If you defeat the ads efficiently, sometimes he will very quickly start the next phase of divers, which we got this time. So once the third comes through, they're going to like spin in a big circle, and it's going to be very threatening looking. We're going to mash like crazy to get rid of a lot of them. And then he's going to float down, and we're going to finish the fight very quickly. I always hug the edge of the screen there because if you stand too close to the circle trying to show off, then sometimes you're just gonna get hit, and that's the worst. By the way, something worth noting is that this run actually uses music from Mighty Switch Force rather than the typical Half-Genie hero music, which I really like because it really suits the gameplay style, I feel like. I think that was a very nice touch of them to do that. So stage 5-1, this is actually a very short level in any percent, because everything is sort of based around the maze. But when you're not looking for all the space hooligans, you can just kind of ignore just about everything. Yes, definitely playing the villain tonight. And so that's it for 6-1. 6-2 is going to have the last notable element of RNG in the run. Essentially, I'm going to be damage boosting through two very tanky enemies. And after the second one, I need to get my gems back up before the boss fight. And whether I do so or not, it's going to be up to RNG. If that doesn't happen, I just won't be able to quick kill the first phase of Dual Barons. But that's okay. It's still a pretty fast fight, it just wouldn't be optimal. I do not like the way that enemy moved. Whoa, that was... I have not had that enemy be in that particular position in quite a while. Okay, good. We got the 5 gem to drop right, which means we only need to recover 6 gems. That's a little more realistic than if the gem had gone left. And you don't want to fight those spider enemies. For one thing, they can block, so even with Shantae's amazing DPS in this mode, it would take forever to get through. Okay, good. We got our gems back. So we will be able to do the Dual Barons quick kill here. Or at least for the first phase. The second phase, there's a little bit of RNG, but it's not a huge deal. And that's why we want to have max gems by that point. Oh, I accidentally missed some shots there, that wasn't good. Nice fast fight though. So next we'll be going into the sixth and final level. The main thing that's important there is basically just making sure that I get to Risky with max gems, because then that makes her fight very quick.
Stage clear.
Yeah, Squid Baron consistently in every game, he always gets a bit of unfair treatment.
Nice shot. Nice shot.
So these enemies, despite how tanky they are, you can't damage boost through them. Just cannot be done. They will bounce you. Oh, I hit that a little too early. Also, I have a bad habit of, if I do ever mess up that screen, I immediately walk into the pit. That's okay. We'll call it our good luck going to the pit. Not that there's any RNG left in this run, because there's not. Yeah, I'm very grateful that if you accidentally bonk or go into a pit, it doesn't take any crystals away like other sources damage. That would make this run a lot harder. That's a really good jump debuffer. I can actually jump out of there too, but it isn't worth it. I've tried and it is not worth it. So the important thing about 6-2 is basically just knowing exactly how all these cycles work. Oh, I made it over that enemy. That was kind of a gamble on my part. Okay, so this part I take slow because this enemy's a little bit scary. Okay, we're through. There are no great chances to recover gems left. There's one big pot, but if we lose more than a big pot's worth, then we go into the risky fight without max gems, and we don't want that ever. So we're coming up on the final non-boss enemy of the game here. And keep fighting risky. Jumping in lava saves on the heating pill. I very much appreciate that. It's true. So with Risky, the main thing we hope is that she doesn't decide to jump on us. It's rare, but it happens. Okay, we're fine.
Defeat Risky
And we took her out before the sword cycle started. So now at the pretty much all that's left is we're going to be doing one more auto-scroller. When the screen goes white at the end of the auto-scroller, that will be time. Well, getting hit here really doesn't matter, but still, it's a little shameful to have that happen. Okay, so that's the last input of the run, and we'll be coming up on time in a moment. And time. So I'm going to guess that was 3440. Yeah, considering some of the little mistakes I made, 34-34s, that's a decently solid run. So just for fun, we'll see what the actual in-game time is.
Thanks.
3208. Yeah, that's not bad. So I would like to say thank you very much to PUWP with Pride for giving me the opportunity to do this run, for having me. And I'd also like to give shout-outs to Lilithan for being so supportive of my run, especially during practices, giving me ideas for ways I can improve. Once again, I'm very grateful. So thank you very much. All cops are bad. Thank you, and good night.